In this part of the course, we'll discuss additional software available for Linux. For people who'd like to switch from Windows to Linux, the lack of extra software may be the biggest issue. The problem is, however, not that there's little software for Linux, but rather that the programs are not exactly the same as ones Windows users are accustomed to. Sometimes the biggest trouble is to find alternatives, or equivalents, to programs that you use in Windows. Surely, applications you're going to use in Linux will not be identical to those for Windows. On the other hand, you can find Linux software that not only performs the exact operations an average user needs in their regular work, but is also free and widely available. Software resources available for the system are, in fact, considerable. There exist programs for virtually every action you may want to perform. Really, there's a good chance that someone has already needed a program that you need now, and developed it. That's basically why and how Linux applications are created. A developer writes a program for himself because he needs a specific functionality, and then he just distributes it on the Linux community for free. On the other hand, please note that such a person creates the software so that the end product suits his or her convenience. That's why the effect is, and in fact must be, usually very different from what you get in a commercial application, which are developed and created with an average, regular user in mind. This is what gives rise to so many different interfaces. Usually, each custom-made application contributes to an improved performance, but unfortunately, the price is that the application is less compatible with commercial programs. The biggest problem is to find the right software, because you need to know what applications are available. You must also get used to the fact each program may behave differently, and that you'll need to learn how to use it. New and previously unknown file formats are to be expected. Unfortunately, the use of many popular file formats, such as doc, XLS, PPT, and others, is restricted through license by companies that have created them. These licenses are usually very expensive. They're closed, patented. Therefore, inevitably, an application running in other operating system, created by a different developer, must work with its own file format. You need to be aware of this. It often happens that Linux applications are able to be open in Windows file format. For example, OpenOffice handles doc formats very well. But if you try to save a file in one of these formats, it will look very different to what Windows application would come up with. This is because encoding schemes of the file formats used by certain commercial applications are not freely available. Other important differences pertain to software distribution channels. The way in which you usually obtain Windows distributions is quite different from how it's done with regards to Linux applications. In the case of Windows applications, software usually comes in boxes, or can be downloaded from the internet. When you buy an application, it contains everything that it needs to run: additional libraries, external components, etc. The application's installer usually installs even the libraries that may be already present in the system. In Windows, a considerable part of the operating system is engaged in processes that ensure the stability of the system by resolving conflicts between components of two different applications that rise from using two incompatible versions of the same library. When it comes to programs for Linux, additional libraries are usually not included in the software package itself. This may be the case, but it doesn't have to be. Very often, software packages are designed to make use of the so-called shared libraries, which in Windows are known as DLL libraries. The application expects that the user will ensure that all the application's dependencies are available. The assumption is that the system should be equipped with all the elements needed for the application to work beforehand. Linux programs usually come with their unique formats. It's possible to load a format commonly used in Windows, but the attempt to save a file in one of them may give unsatisfactory results. For a novice user, all this information may look scary. Preparing libraries and the system itself before installing a program. However, modern means software installation will do it all for you. So really, there's nothing to worry about. The system will support you. Software installation is even more comfortable in Linux than in Windows. You don't need to search for software because it comes along with the system. It's very convenient and very efficient. This will be presented during this presentation. In Linux, we have three main forms of software distribution. The source code is one of the most basic ones. The second type consists of different kinds of binary packages, such as exe and MSI installers in Windows. In Linux, such installers are used as well. The most popular form of distribution are software packages that can be retrieved from software repositories. We'll now briefly discuss all forms of distribution to get an idea of how they work. In your daily work, you'll usually use a third option, that is, software packages and software repositories. Alternatively, in rare cases, you may encounter binary packages.